In this video, Banon joins Gavin Newsom on his new podcast and absolutely cooks him. An FAA supervisor helps minorities cheat the test in order to become employed. Jesse Watters annihilates the Democrats on Elon Musk. Sonny Hostin proves once again that she is a complete loser. Trump was right about the transgender mice, and an Ozempic-faced liberal loses her mind on Elon Musk. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all's good wherever you are. Banon was just on Gavin Newsom's podcast, and Gavin Newsom, I watched a little bit of this podcast. This guy can't talk without moving his hands a mile a minute all the time. I also had a horrible experience with a call center today. Speaking of bringing back jobs to America, how about call centers? Can we bring call centers back to America instead of rerouting them to the Philippines and India or Mexico or whatever other country? Golly. Anyways, let's start the video off. Here's Gavin Newsom chatting with Banon, and then we have a clip of Sonny Hostin proving once again she's a complete moron. Let's get it.
And having the fact that we're having this dialogue about your different approach. In some ways, it's the California tax policy as it relates to more progressive tax policy that favors the working class.
We would never take anything from California.
I understand. I'm challenging you on the
but the California. But first off, you're grossly overtaxed in California. We want to cut.
We have moderate income taxes for middle class working folks. It's the top tax rate, which you're arguing for a little higher tax rate, which I appreciate. In the corporate tax side, I don't know if it's completely dissimilar. I don't want to get you in trouble. And I appreciate the notion of agency, that we're not bystanders in the world. It's decisions, not conditions, that determine our fate and future. And that fundamental notion of agency, I think, is important more broadly. And I think that goes to some of the issues around victimization. And I see a lot of that, respectively, on the right, increasingly, even with Trump often approaching things from that sort of mindset.
What do you mean? What do you mean for Trump?
I think there's the grievance narrative that comes from Trump. This notion, there is sort of a victim.
They did try to put him in prison for 300 years, right? They did try to bankrupt him.
Well, that's a guy.
I'm saddened by it because I do think that the Black Lives Matter movement has been co-opted and they're trying to erase it, obviously, but it's probably the second most important civil rights movement in American history. The first, of course, being which resulted in the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and then the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So I'm devastated by it because it's just a continuation of the erasure of American history. Of course, I take it a little personally because one of my closest friends is Alicia Garza, who wrote the letter that started the Black Lives Matter movement, and she is one of our thought leaders of our generation. And so I'm saddened by it, but let's be clear, this was extortion. Take it down or lose federal funding. Right. And we're seeing that same thing at Columbia. We're seeing that, and we're going to continue to see that same type of extortion across the country.
So you don't blame the mayor because she had no choice, really?
No, I don't blame the mayor.
Yeah,
I think the mayor did what she had to do for her for the.
Yeah, you want to talk about the taxes in California? Look at this, the highest in the country, the highest. Gavin Newsom with this podcast, I get that he's trying to reposition himself as more centrist and far progressive left, which is what he actually is, or maybe he doesn't care about any of it at all. Maybe he just does it for optics. Which is probably more likely because this guy is a massive narcissist. Now let's get to a video of a panel of liberals losing it about Elon Musk having cars at the White House. But before that, a compilation of Democrats, people on the left, talking about Elon Musk like he is God when he was voting Democrat. Let's get it.
I would argue that the new Jesus Christ of our era are Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, and it's important to have heroes.
The 47-year-old engineer has been called the real-life Tony Stark, better known as Iron Man.
Elon Musk, a.k.a. real-life Iron Man.
The guy is brilliant.
He is a genius, and at least for now, the world is better off having Elon Musk in it than not.
Elon Musk is one of the most interesting people in America. He's in the world, and I guess in the universe.
Elon Musk is doing things that may revolutionize transportation and climate change.
When somebody as staggeringly rich and staggeringly intelligent as Elon Musk talks, people listen.
Has there ever been a car salesman like Elon Musk?
Elon Musk is I think beyond a car salesman. I mean, he's more like a hero for a lot of folks.
Just today, we were given a glimpse of something of a miracle at sea, or as Elon Musk calls it, Tuesday.
Let's talk about SpaceX. Okay, the launch this morning was glorious.
Speaking of wonderful, out of this world, incredible images from the first all-civilian orbit around Earth. A huge win for Elon Musk.
It's an amazing development that's going on. You got to give a lot of credit to Elon Musk. Elon Musk, he deserves a lot of credit.
Tesla founder Elon Musk says he knows the biggest threat to humanity, and he has a plan.
An immigrant to this country cemented his status as a leader in science and technology whose name may indeed belong alongside those of Edison and Jobs. Put another way, Elon Musk today showed the world how it's done.
Julie, what's your reaction to this Tesla stunt? Is it ironic that the president is now touting electric vehicles?
I mean, first of all, it's not legal. Let's start with that. Second, I mean, you can't do this on the property of the White House. It's federal property. Second, I mean, really, the president is basically a car salesman now. It's just astounding with everything that's going on. I mean, literally, with everything that's going on in the world. He's taking time out of his day to array 4 or 5 Teslas on the White House lawn and basically act like a showroom salesman. By the way, I don't know who he thinks is buying Teslas, but I can guarantee you that they're out of reach, many of them, for the average Trump voter. So I'm not sure who in the MAGA universe he's urging to buy Teslas, because Teslas consistently, in previous iterations, were bought by wealthier, more environmentally conscious people. And so, you know, if he's trying to now get MAGA to go buy Teslas, I think that's not going to be very successful. But it does underscore that the protest against Tesla and the fact that the market is driving Tesla down is really having an effect on Elon Musk in a truly tangible way. Otherwise, the president of the United States would not be coming out and taking time out of his day to effectively sell Teslas to the American
Well, and this
people.
is, Mark, one brand, one type of car that affects one business owner, Elon Musk, but other U.S. automakers are saying, what the heck? I mean, here's a quote from another automaker here in the U.S. telling NBC News, Tesla has benefited more from taxpayer money than any other car maker by far. Now the White House is marketing Tesla vehicles. What's next?
I think that's exactly the right irony. The reality is that for many of us, we've opposed not Teslas, we've opposed taxpayer subsidies of electric vehicles, believing the marketplace should be a place people can choose what they want, but it shouldn't be subsidized by average Americans to pay for what wealthy Americans can afford. And so that's been our position. Now,
in some good news, we've abolished the Department of Education. It's about time, since we're spending more and more money in that department every year to allocate funds to school, and yet skills are at an all-time low. We know for sure is with the Department of Education, they don't care about the students. They care about putting money in their pocket. They care about the teachers. Smaller classrooms, less hours, more pay. This does nothing for students. Now let's get to Jesse Waters crushing these same liberals on the Elon Musk topic. But before that, a CNN segment aired the fact that inflation is going down, and actually it's at a 4-year low today. We are winning. What are the leftoids going to cry about now? Trump's only been in office less than 2 months, and we just keep winning. Let's get it.
Finally, we have some good news on the economy, and really the number one issue for many Americans, the cost of living. So we just learned that consumer prices in February increased by 2.8% year over year, 0.2% month over month. Both of these figures were a step in the right direction, and both were better than expected. So this is definitely very encouraging to see, because it's going to, I think, relieve some fears that inflation was perhaps re-accelerating, because this actually breaks a streak of 4 straight months where I think you could see it on the chart all the way to the right, where the inflation rate was going in the wrong direction, right? It was going higher and higher. Finally, we're seeing it dip.
And Coons thinks it's suspect to turn the White House into a car show? The Wrangler Biden's promoting isn't even American. The Dutch own it. Obama and Biden let Jeep get sold overseas, and he's driving a foreign car around the White House lawn. During an EV summit, he invited every electric car maker except Tesla. Joe snubbed Musk, the largest EV maker in the world. And then he sued Musk for not hiring migrants. The Democrats and Musk had a bad breakup. You know how these are. They used to be in love.
We're going to try to see if we can accelerate
this kind of collaboration through we put forward. So
it's the right plan.
Good. Well, congratulations. This is terrific.
Thank you very much.
How's the car doing?
It's doing great, actually.
Yeah? How do you split your time between car and rocket?
Well, it's usually about 50-50. We should have the sedan on the roads in 2 years. And it'll be the best car on the roads by far.
Musk didn't change. Democrats did. He's always believed in free speech and free enterprise. He didn't make his money shorting the pound like Soros so he could use it to open our border and prisons. He's making cars that liberals say save the planet and trying to put rockets on other planets. The progressives hate that Musk's making progress. And they hate that he's young and fun and not in the shadows like their sugar daddy Soros. Again, like a teenage girl, they blackballed Elon and then he became even more popular. And now they hate him, but they really hate themselves for losing him.
Forgive me, but what's his end game? I mean, I know look, he wants to be the first trillionaire in the world. I mean, what's his end game here?
Well, you know it. You guys, you created him, Governor. I mean, you
By
guys.
the way, in many respects, California did. It was our regulatory process and our subsidies to create this market. You're 100% right. I think you're right.
Democrats loaned Musk billions to make green cars, and he actually did it. Unlike all the other dumb loans Democrats gave out to all the green companies that went belly up, like Solyndra and Sonova and that stupid electric bus company that Kamala's always yapping about. All Democrats do once they get into power is hand wealthy people money. They bail out banks, give donors green contracts. But suddenly, some wealthy guys go into government to shut down the fraud and handouts, and the media is mad.
President Trump is surrounded by the wealthiest cabinet, the wealthiest administration in modern U.S. history. Does this concern you?
I don't think it's so much about their wealth.
I mean, you're only allowed to be wealthy in Congress. Can't be wealthy in the cabinet. We know how Elon made his money. How'd Nancy? Elon makes cars and rockets. What does Hunter make? No one wants his paintings now that Daddy's back in Delaware. What a coincidence. So it seems like the Democrats finally settled on a message to beat Trump. It's taken them long enough. Republicans are for the rich. Where have I heard that before? Oh, they've been saying it for 100 years. Maybe it used to work, but now the Democrats are the party of the rich. Billionaires donated more to Kamala than Trump. She outraised him 2-1, and he still cleaned her clock. Under Joe Biden, income inequality increased, and the Democrats and their shutdowns created the biggest transfer of wealth in world history. Zuckerberg, Musk, Bezos, Gates made more money under Biden than ever. And that's great. We're all for making money. It's just not great when the rest of the country can't get ahead. Liberals used to love these billionaires until they switched sides.
You guys you loved all the oligarchs, and particularly Elon, until they flipped. And remember, all the rest of these oligarchs were all progressive Democrats until 11 p.m.
I don't know if they're progressive. I refer to them as libertarian, and I know these guys intimately. I've known them for decades.
If Trump's doing all these favors for billionaires, why are the billionaires losing money under him? Well, because he's fighting a trade war to rebalance the economy to save the American worker. Elon has lost $100 billion since he teamed up with Trump. And he says it's worth it if he can stop the country from going bankrupt.
So it's a call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You giving up your other stuff? I mean, how are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty. Yeah, I mean.
But there's no turning back, you're saying?
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud, and so far we're making good progress.
The party's flipped. Democrats are for the rich. The Trump Republicans are for everybody. And that has the Democrats rattled. The America First movement forced Democrats into hating peace, progress, and making things in America. They're even against black kids with cancer who want to grow up to be cops.
The next clip you're going to watch is disgusting. This is an FAA supervisor who was just exposed. I'd love to give the credit. I got this clip from Libs of TikTok. I don't know if they're the ones that broke the story or not, but that's where I got the clip. So shout out to Libs of TikTok. This FAA supervisor was helping minorities cheat in order to be employed in air traffic control. You can't make this shit up. This is DEI at its finest right here the failures of I. Let's go.
Washington Suburban associate members, brothers and sisters, listen, it's been a really busy time for me these past 4 days. I know that each of you are eager, very eager, to apply for this job vacancy announcement. And trust, after tonight, you will be able to do so. I am asking that you give me another 15 or 16 hours. Allow me to go to work and come home, provide you with an email that will be extremely crucial in the opening stages of this hiring process. There are some valuable pieces of information that I have taken a screenshot of, and I'm going to send that to you via email. Trust and believe it will be something that you will appreciate to the utmost. Keep in mind, we are trying to maximize your opportunities, and I'm doing the very best that I can with the time that I'm given. Today when I get off at 11 o'clock, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out that email. I'm going to send it to each of you, and as you progress through the stages, refer to those images so that you will know which icons you should select. Now, I have a good mind to send it to one of my HR representatives first and give them the opportunity to sign off on it before you actually click it. But in the sake of time, I'm going to send it directly to you because I'm about 99.99% sure that it's exactly how you need to answer each question in order to get through the first phase. People have been getting rejection notices, and those rejection notices have been coming after about 24 to 36 hours after clicking submit. And I want to avoid that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our time, and we're going to make sure that everything that we click on, and you're going to even have to go back to your resume and make some changes because one of our members and I have caught something, and we want to go back and we want to fine-tune those details. And I guarantee that will give us the very best feeling that we could ever get in applying for this job. VRAs, those that have received tentative offer letters, we want you to apply for this job anyway. Messages came back saying do not give the agency an opportunity to say they never gave you one. So apply for it anyway. For everyone else, stand by to stand by. Later on this evening when I get home, I'm going to finish those emails, and then I'm going to go back to planning for the Black History Month program, and then I'm going to process all new members enrollment forms, and then I'm going to send out my emails to the managers of the FAA regional headquarters and thanking them for my visit. And then I'm going to get back to handling some important business for the VRAs. I think we may have an opportunity, VRAs, to do something that others probably would find impossible. I found that answer talking to people in HR. So give me an opportunity to do what I need to do this evening, and I guarantee after that you will be able to apply for this job. Thanks a lot. God bless.
Doesn't hearing that just make your blood boil? Now here's a clip from the Undercurrents podcast where they had Justin R. Goodman on there talking about Trump being right about the transgender mice stuff. Then we have Robert Lutnick saying that Trump's plan is to have no tax for anybody making $150,000 a year or less.
What is the truth about trans mice? Are you wrong? Was Donald Trump wrong? Is this just purely about transgenic mice? Or is the government actually using taxpayer money to experiment on transgender mice? What's going on?
The truth is Donald Trump is right. We have receipts showing the federal government has wasted over $250 million on experiments creating transgender lab animals and then conducting experiments on them where they're testing drugs and vaccines, looking at their behavioral and mental health after receiving transgender affirming surgeries and hormone therapies, electroshocking them, forcing them to swim until they become desperate and drown to test whether they're depressed or not. And in one example that Congresswoman Nancy Mace has highlighted that we exposed, They're giving female mice testosterone to create transgender male mice and then overdosing them with GHB, which is like a rave party drug, to see if this sex party drug, if the female transgender mice are more likely to overdose on this drug than mice who are not receiving testosterone therapy. So there is a long, the receipt for transgender animal experimentation is like as long as a CVS receipt. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. And they're actively funding dozens of projects right now. The NIH, the National Science Foundation, are actively funding dozens of projects right now that are funding the creation of transgender lab animals for these experiments. It is absolutely true. The left is like losing its mind trying to defend this stuff because I think it violates so many sensibilities they have about science is real and hating Donald Trump and whatever they else they have on their lawn signs. This like violates all of those credos. So it's upsetting for a lot of reasons that it's true. It's disappointing, however, that you see the press on the left and people like Jimmy Kimmel, Rachel Maddow, Saturday Night Live, Van Jones, all these people going on TV saying it's, these are lies when it's 100% true. There's no confusing it. I mean, even people who were defending these experiments and first called them false have, Forbes and CNN had both had to issue corrections to their claims that it wasn't true. And then you have like Ben Ryan at the New York Times who said it wasn't true. Then I sent him receipts and he said, okay, it's kind of true, but they're not really transgender animal experiments because the animals can't tell us what gender they feel like they are. And then that one took off a little bit too. So it's been an interesting, week of people kind of trying to jujitsu this thing to make it seem like it's not happening when it actually is. And the problem is way worse than Trump made it out to be, actually.
But it sounds like you're saying, trust us. And are you worried that at some point Americans are going to feel like there's a bunch of billionaires in Washington who are playing Russian roulette with our retirement?
$2 trillion deficits don't bother you at all. How could you ask me, while we're running a $2 trillion deficit, and not care? You're destroying the people who have run this country before, are destroying the future for my children and my children's children. I can't have a 50, 75. We have a $36 trillion deficit. And we used to run deficits of $400 billion. Now $2 trillion, everybody's like, who cares? I tell you what, who cares? Donald Trump cares. And when we balance the budget, you know what that means? That means our deficits stop. Interest rates come smashing down. His goal is to have external revenue. The way I think about it, we all are so used to paying taxes. We're so used to it. We have like Stockholm syndrome. Don't stop the Internal Revenue Service, God forbid. How about this? The rest of the world leans on our economy, breathes off our economy. Not only is our economy $29 trillion GDP, but we consume $20 trillion a year. We are the buyer of everybody's stuff. We buy everybody's stuff. So who's more important, the people who sell stuff or the people who buy stuff? So we are the buyer of everybody's commodities, products, goods and services. Everything comes from us, right? Let them pay a membership fee. We all understand that model. Let them pay. How about we, you and I, and every single person we know pay less? How about no tax on tips? How about no tax on overtime? How about no Social Security? How about all those things? These are the kind of thoughts that will change America. I know what his goal is. No tax for anybody who makes less than $150,000 a year. That's his goal.
So
and that's what I'm working for.
Harder, but you need to try less being like somebody you're not and start to humble yourself and be somebody that God made you to be. He didn't make a man to be a woman. He made the man to be a man. He didn't make the woman to be a man. He made the woman to be a woman. And this is the truth. What are you going to do? Come attack me now?
I should.
Hey, man, it's up to you. If you want to pull that on me, well, God bless you. So you just threatened me with a gun. You just pulled a gun on my face. Man, Lord have mercy on you. This means that you don't even know who you are. Nope, I still love you. Even though you pulled a gun on me, I still love you. I still bless you.
You asked the question about whether the Democrats are going to go extinct. I hope so. I'm not one of those people like you that think, oh, it's really healthy for the country if you have two strong parties. Get out of here.
You said you think that in the past. You think it's good for both
I
parties
want to
be
burn your village and steal your women. Metaphorically speaking. I want one of those great stretches where it was like Reagan, Bush, and if it wasn't for Ross Perot, it would have been 16 straight years. That's what I want, and that's what I expect. And that doesn't mean I'm saying red wave.
Yes.
Let's just be clear. The Democrats right now are at a messaging retreat in Virginia. They're just trying to trick you. What do they stand for? What do you stand for, Democrats? Do you even stand for fighting climate change? Because you're torching Teslas and you stole all the money from the Green New scam.
Those were the progressives.
Do you stand for education? No, you shut the schools down and you don't even talk about test scores. Do you stand for health? Look at yourselves. Obviously, you're not Maha. Do you stand for border? Do you stand for public safety? Obviously not. Do you stand for the middle class doing well? No. Bidenomics, cost of living. You're okay with factories in China and Canada and Mexico. You've done nothing about it. The Democrats don't stand for anything. They don't even stand for progress. You've said it, Greg.
Yeah, they don't even stand for the flag.
They can't even build a reservoir or a railroad or any electric charging station. Greg, it is so bad. They are making an 82-year-old woman look like Fraggle Rock and dance for donations.